महेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये नीलाचल निवासाय नित्याय परमात्मने बलभद्रा सुभद्राभ्यां जगन्नाथाय ते नमः वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मुक्तं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनकारणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यईश्वरम्। So just now we sang a very Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So just now we sang a very, very important song. The song Vrindavan Ramya Sthana Divya Chintamani Dham. The song directly and immediately transports us to our home, the place where we actually belong to the personalities whom we have the real eternal relationship and whatever we are hankering for in this world, we may realize or not realize, we may know or not know, but actually all of us are hankering to be reunited back to that realm of the spiritual world of Golok Vrindavan. So there are many wonderful descriptions of the spiritual world given in the scriptures. Today we will try to dive deep into a particular description described in Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, 15th chapter, where the Chatush Kumaras, who were very, very great exalted sages, and they were out of their own free will, They are free to move anywhere and everywhere, and out of their free will, they were moving, and they entered into Vaikuntha planets. And as they entered in the spiritual world, into the Vaikuntha planets, they observed the Vaikuntha planets. And what they observed is spoken here by Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma is describing this. And the context where Lord Brahma is describing is also very important. So what is the context here? The context is that that Diti is the wife of Kashyapa, and she is her sons are called as Daitya. Diti से आते हैं दैत्य, और कश्यप की एक और वाइफ है, उसका नाम है आदिति, उससे आते हैं आदित्य. So Aditya means the demigods, and Daitya means the demons. So Diti got a pregnancy in the evening by Kashyapa because of a force of Diti. She was very, very lusty, and when she got a pregnancy, because that was not the right time, auspicious time. So Kashyapa told that actually, because we have done such a thing, that's why now you will give birth to two very big demons. And actually these two demons are Hiranyaksh and Hiranyakashipu. So while Hiranyaksh and Hiranyakashipu were right in the womb, they created such a while they were in the womb. So it is explained that Diti kept them in the womb for 100 years. No one can do now such kind of people. Because Diti was fearful that if they come out, what they will do. So she wanted to delay the destruction for a long time. But actually, while they were in the womb, they created sufficient havoc that the sun was no more visible. Everything became very dark. And that time demigods became very, very worried. And when demigods became worried, they immediately went to Brahmaji. And they told to Brahmaji that, Brahmaji, what is happening? Please help us. Brahmaji ne bola. Brahmaji understood that there is something happening which is beyond our control. Okay, there are many times, यहाँ पर ये हो रहा है, यहाँ पर ये हो रहा है, ऐसा प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है, ऐसा प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है. No need to panic. Things, can you do something about it? So Brahmaji understood and knew very well what is happening. What he knew very well that the Chatush Kumara went to the spiritual world and they cursed Jay and Vijay to take birth. And this is all actually a divine pastime of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because Supreme Personality of Godhead in the spiritual world desired to fight. And he wanted his own personal associate Jay and Vijay to descend like a demons so that he can have a good fight. So भगवान की लीलाएं होने वाली है यहाँ पर, इसमें मैं क्या करूँगा? You understand? And so when Brahmaji wanted to tell that, see, things are beyond our control, then what we should do? What we should do? We should become panicky? No, not at all. What we should do? What do you think should we do? Taking shelter of Supreme, how? Brahmaji is teaching how we take shelter by discussing about Vaikuntha. So what Brahmaji started doing, he started talking about Vaikuntha. Let us hear Krishna Katha. So very peacefully, there are many chapters in which Lord Brahmaji describes this whole pastime very nicely and peacefully. That आराम से सुन, ये सब हमारे beyond है. So in that way we should understand that when things are beyond us, the things are within our jurisdiction and that is a service given to you, then wonderful. Else, just focus on remembering Krishna, praying to Krishna, and ultimately things are all under whose control? Krishna's control. No? Krishna ke beyond है क्या? Krishna ke beyond कुछ है क्या? Nothing is beyond his control. So better focus on Krishna consciousness and be happy. Chant Hare Krishna and be happy. Do your part. So, so here Brahmaji is describing about the spiritual world. So let's hear from Brahmaji some verses. Not everything we may be able to read, but some few verses we'll try to read and understand what Brahmaji is talking about the spiritual world. How is the spiritual world? Srila Prabhupada writes in Bhagavad Gita, that verse of Nagad Bhashyate Suryo Ashasham Dona Bhavata Yat Katvana Nimartante Tad Dhamo Paramam Mama. This is the verse which in Bhagavad Gita Krishna is speaking about spiritual world. In Bhagavad Gita Krishna is speaking about spiritual world. What is that place? The place where there is no need of sun, no need of moon, no need of fire, no need of electricity, because it is self-eliminating. That is my eternal abode. Prabhupada writes there in the purport that one should be captivated by this information of the spiritual world. Reward. So we need to be, we anyways become captivated by so many things, right, in this world. So unless we are captivated by spiritual world, how we will go back to God? So let us hear something more detailed of the spiritual world. Yatra chadaya pumsa aste Bhagavan Shabda Gochara Sattvam Vishtabhya Virajam Swanam no Hridayan Vrisha. Translation.
In the background of planet, the supreme personality of Godhead, who is the original person and who can be understood to the clarification, he is full of uncontaminated mode of goodness, with no place for passion or ignorance. He contributes religious progress for humanity.
So first thing the spiritual world is described that there is a supreme person of Godhead, and it's the abode of the Supreme Lord, who is the original person, and there is no question of any modes, any of the three modes, of passion, ignorance, or even the material mode of goodness, that is Shuddha Sattva. Yatra Naishreyasan Nama Vanam Kama Dughay Drumai Sarvarto Shri Vibhrajat Kaivalyam Eva Murtiman.
In those Vaikuntha planets, there are many forests which are very auspicious. In those forests, the trees are desired trees, and in all seasons they are filled with flowers and fruits, because everything in the Vaikuntha planets is spiritual and personal.
So there are desire-fulfilling trees, and these trees are filled with flowers, fruits of all seasons. That means now the mango season is over, right? Now if one mango you will get two types of mango. Either the mango which has not good quality, or second mango is very very good quality but they are very bad for health. They are frozen and some deep freeze and everything is very very dangerous for health. So, but in the spiritual world there is no such problem. In all seasons you get everything. And not only that, everything is spiritual and personal. One more point is mentioned here, Kaivalyam eva murtima. So they are completely spiritual. They are all spiritual. Vaimanikasa lalana saritani sashvat Gayanti yatra shamala kshapanani bhartu Antarjalenu vikasan madhumadhavina घृतेन खण्डितधियोऽपि अनिलं क्षिपन्त
The Vaikuntha planets, the inhabitants fly in their aeroplanes, accompanied by their wives and consorts, and eternally sing of the character and activities of the Lord, which are always devoid of all inauspicious qualities. While singing the glories of the Lord, they derive even the presence of the blossoming madhuri flowers, which are fragrant and laden with honey.
So in Vaikuntha, the devotees are engaged in what? They're singing, eternally they are singing the character and the activities of the Supreme Lord. So this is the special quality of Vaikuntha, that everyone is constantly engaged in glorifying Krishna. And that glorification of Krishna gives such a higher taste, so much ecstasy, that any kind of material enjoyment which may be nearby, even any kind of enjoyment may be there, they are uninterested. Okay. Like for example, the madhuri flowers are blossoming, nice smell, fragrance, they are not thinking, oh, so nice. Rather they deride. They rather say, the acharyas here in the commentary, that in the Vaikuntha planet there is no question of sense gratification. To smell the fragrance of blossoming flower is certainly very nice, but it is simply for sense gratification. The inhabitants of Vaikuntha give first preference to the service of the Lord, not their own sense gratification. Serving the Lord in transcendental love yields such transcendental pleasure that in comparison sense gratification is counted as insignificant. That's the whole point. That how our devotees in Vaikuntha are so much engaged in serving Krishna, that any kind of sense gratification, it is available. All kinds of sense gratification is available. Which in this world people work very, very hard for sense gratification, and literally their whole life is hard work for sense gratification, which they lose at the time of death, which most of the time they don't get. Most of the time the life just goes in future promise. आएगा, एक दिन आएगा, हम होंगे कामयाब एक दिन. So it just goes on and on and on. And they don't understand that what is that kamayabi. Even if you get into IIT, JEE जब prepare करते हैं तो हम होंगे कामयाब. You come to IIT, you find that that's not the end. Then you think that हम होंगे कामयाब by going into a big company. You enter into the company, you find, enter into, let's say, the biggest of the company, let's say, what is the biggest company? Amazon or Microsoft or Nvidia, Google, Meta, Tesla. You enter into any of these big companies, after you enter there, you find it's not the end. Because there you are the junior most person. You are just entered into the company, what you are, and then everyone is like, and then you are thinking, अरे अभी तो शुरू नहीं हुआ लाइफ में, अभी तो हमको जो गोल पाना था वो कभी शुरू करना है. Then you start working very, very hard, and then that life goes on and on. There is no end. But by the time you reach a little bit to the top, you realize that the technology has changed. So many problems have happened now. Now whatever you have been struggling with last 10 years, अभी वो सब ज़्यादा नहीं है, अभी कुछ और चलता है मार्केट में. And then you have to really update yourself and struggle for what? For some sense gratification which you thought will give you happiness. And whenever you are achieving, whether you are getting happiness or not, it's just very, very strugglesome. But here in the spiritual world, sense gratification is freely available for everyone. Because you don't have to work hard for it. Okay? There's no hard work, there's no going to job. Anyway, all sense gratification, whatever you need is freely available. Everything is there. Despite its being available, the Vaikuntha Vasis are not interested in that. Why? They have higher. Serving the Lord in transcendental love yields such a transcendental pleasure but in comparison, sense gratification is counted as insignificant. So, koi value nahi. You just don't deride it. So this is one characteristic. So in that way, two points. First thing is that this description help us to get attracted. Simultaneously, one more thing we can learn as we are reading about the spiritual world, that to go back to Godhead, and to have this characteristic right now, because the spiritual world is a place, okay, it's a physical place also, but also spiritual world is a state of consciousness. And whatever state of consciousness you have, that state of consciousness you will reach at the time of death, in your next life. Okay? Right? And actually it is said, whatever state of consciousness you have, you are there. Right? If you have hellish consciousness, you are in hell. Whether you are living here, but one is in heaven. If you have heavenly consciousness, you are in heaven. And if you have spiritual consciousness, you are in the spiritual world. Rego. So you are already there. And this, at the time of that, going back to Godhead is a detail. That's why Krishna said, Yam Yam, Yam Yam, Vabi Smaranam Bhava, Rajan Tante Kalera, Tam Tam Evaiti Kontata, Kontaya Sada Tad Bhava Bhavata. So what are Bhav? Krishna speaks the word Bhav. What are Bhavana, consciousness you have at the time of death? You will go to that particular place. So that's why spiritual world consciousness we need to cultivate right here. Right? We don't have to wait. We cultivate. If we cultivate, then first two things are there. We are already in the spiritual world. And second thing, at the time of death, it's a detail that we go back to God. Okay? Clear? So now first consciousness, what we saw about spiritual world. First point we have seen is what just now we read. Despite sense gratification all around there, a devotee is so much absorbed in glorifying the Lord that pleasure is not like too much interest in sense gratification. Although it's all there, right? He considers that to be insignificant. So that's why a devotee focuses on transcendental pleasure of glorifying Krishna. Okay? So that is the first thing we see. Developing higher taste and not being engaged in self-gratification. Let us see the next verse. Paravatanya bhrata sara sachakravaka dhatuyaha hamsa shuka tittiri barhinamya Kolahalo viramate chiramattaram uchchai Bringadipri harikathan eva gayamane
When the King of Peace comes in a high pitch, singing the glories of the Lord, there is temporary health in the noise of the pigeon, the food, the green, the chakravak, the swan, the parrot, the penguin, and the peacock. Such transcendental words stop their own singing simply to hear the glories of the Lord.
So it is explained in the spiritual world. There is a bee who is the Supreme Lord is sitting with a very beautiful garland, and the bumblebee who is sitting in the garland of the Supreme Lord. Okay. Very special bee. Just imagine, so close to Krishna, and just relishing the nectar from the garland of the Supreme Lord directly. So there are so many wonderful birds, like pigeon, cuckoo, crane, chakravaka, swan. Some of them you may not have even heard about. But at least we know cuckoo, you hear cuckoo. You know peacock. Parrot, So all these have very beautiful sounds. So while they are all in symphony in the spiritual world, they are all singing so beautifully. The sound of bee is something very special. Not something very wonderful from material point of view. But because this bee, the Acharya is explaining this particular bee, he is sitting very close to the Lord, just very in the right in the garden, and then she starts singing, the glories of the Lord. What she is singing? The glories of the Lord. All these other birds stop singing and want to hear attentively the glories sung by the bee. So what does it show us? Let's hear from Srila Prabhupada. This is a pastime which is happening in a spiritual world. What does this pastime signify and what do we learn from it? Because we can clearly see that there are higher qualified birds, but they have stopped singing because there is another devotee who is singing about Krishna, and we want to hear what she is going to say. So let us see what is the wonderful quality here. Yes.
This verse reveals the absolute nature of Vaikuntha. There is no difference between the gods there and the human residents. The situation in the spiritual sky is that everything is spiritual and variegated. Spiritual variegatedness means that everything is animate. There is nothing inanimate. Even the trees, the ground, the plants, the flowers, the birds and the beasts are all on the level of Krishna consciousness. The special feature of Vaikuntha Loka is that there is no question of sense gratification. In the material world, even an ass enjoys his sound vibration. But in the Vaikuntha, such nice birds as the peacock, the chakravaka and the cuckoo prefer to hear the vibration of the glories of the Lord from the bees. The principles of devotional service beginning from hearing and chanting are very prominent in the Vaikuntha world.
Hence, in the Vaikuntha world, there is no question of envy. Okay. There is no question of a devotee is thinking that if this devotee, if one particular devotee, he may be very junior to me, he may be a new devotee, or he may not be so expert, and I am very expert. But if he is glorifying Krishna, right, then let me hear. Okay. Another thing is that the Acharya has also explained that as I was studying that there is a bee who is sitting so close. He is also sitting so close with the Lord. And other birds may think that what is this? This bee is so close. We can't come so close to the Lord. This is not good. We should be also coming very close to the Lord. ऐसा फीलिंग आ सकता है ना. This devotee is so close to the Lord, and I never get that opportunity to be so close to the Lord. This kind of feeling is not there. Right? Whether the feeling is that, oh, this devotee is so close to the Lord, so when he is coming, let me try to hear from him, let me try to serve him, let me try to appreciate him. So there is a mood of servant of the servant. Okay. Very powerful mood in the spiritual world. There is no envy. Not like that, oh, Krishna is favoring this devotee, इसको मैं दिखा दूंगा, या फिर इसको मैं कुछ तो इसके साथ कर दूंगा गड़बड़ जैसे कि, then Krishna will not like this devotee. So nothing like that. So that kind of attitude is absent. Okay. So that's what I said. In the material world, even ass enjoys sound vibration. Even ass is thinking, "Dekho, main kitna acha ga raha hu." But in the Vaikuntha, such nice birds as peacock, chakravaka, and cuckoo, they sing so nice But they are thinking what? Let me hear from the bee, because bee is glorifying Krishna. Right? Glorification of Krishna from the bee is more important. So in that way, there is no competition, there is no envy, there is simply a loving mood of serving the other devotees. Okay?
Earlier read that there are wife and consorts are there, so we are glorified. So why we are marrying? There is no need to marry.
There is no marriage ceremony. There is no marriage ceremony. They are eternally husband and wife. It's not that they were unmarried and now they got married. Okay? They are eternally husband and wife. But the verse will come in the further verses. But there is no attraction among them. Okay? Both of them are simply engaged in glorifying Krishna. Okay?
And everything is spiritual and personal. So what is meant by personal?
Personal, because they all have feelings. Okay? It's not like generally we say spiritual means, generally the materialistic idea spiritual means it should be impersonal, because everything is same. And there should not be any separate identity. And whereas everything is personal in the spiritual world, that every person in the spiritual world is unique, individual, and they have their taste. So this is another aspect of the spiritual world, that in the spiritual world you will find some devotees feel. This is another very important point. Please hear this. So, as I am attending also Bhakti Vaibhava classes by His Grace Revati Pati Prabhu, the original founder of this site. So he is right now doing Bhakti Vaibhava course, just going on last few days. And today, tomorrow, 5 days in a month we have this course. And this month Revati Pati Prabhu is taking, who is the first devotee of Kadampur Voice. So he was sharing this very nice point yesterday. He was sharing yesterday. So he was saying yesterday that this is an impersonalist, impersonalism within devotee circle, how it can come. When we feel that ये devotee ऐसा क्यों, ये devotee ऐसा क्यों. We want all devotees to be like same. If we think that all devotees should be same, then this is also an idea of impersonalism. Okay, there is, all devotees are unique even in the spiritual world. In the spiritual world there is so much variety. Okay, right? Every devotee has unique nature and unique relationship with Krishna. We can't say that no, सब devotee एक जैसा ही होना चाहिए, एक जैसे टेस्ट होना चाहिए सबका एक. There is variety. You can experience that in voice. There is variety. Every devotee is completely unique, different. उनका अलग ही, सबका अलग flavor है. And not that, oh, because of Prabhuji 3 modes of material nature, this is all. Once the 3 modes are freed, then everyone will become one. Right? That's what Mayavadis speak. Okay. Mayavadis think that this is all, this 3 modes play. But no, there is a spiritual swabhava. There is material swabhava coming from the 3 modes, and there is spiritual swabhava coming from our original loving nature. And that's why when we learn to live in this variety of devotees, then we are becoming ready to live in the variety in spiritual world. But in the spiritual world, there is unity in diversity. This is the principle of spiritual world. What is the meaning of unity in diversity? There is unity in the sense of yes, Bolo? Glorification of Krishna, serving Krishna in the purpose. Okay. Everyone is one in purpose. What is that purpose? To please Krishna. Okay, right. That is unity. Every devotee in that way united. But there is so much diversity. Every devotee has their own flavor. And there may be a lot of conflicts. In the spiritual world there can be conflicts? Yes. There are so much conflicts. There are constantly conflicts. That's how the Leelas happen. But all those conflicts simply increases the rasa. For example, cooking. How many of you know little bit cooking? Some cooking. So if you know cooking, you know that in cooking what you do? You put only one masala, right? Put only one, no. And you have to put so many ingredients, and every ingredient gives its own flavor, right? Sometimes you find in a sabji you put little sugar. तो उसी शुगर के अभी आपने उसमें तीखा डाला, अभी शुगर भी डाल दी. It has its flavor. कितने लोगों को पता है, कभी कभी थोड़ा सा पता, आपको पता भी नहीं लगेगा इसमें शुगर कैसे है, तो अच्छा टेस्ट आ रहा है, पर वो सब रेसिपी का है, रेसिपी में एक स्टाइल है. यू पुट that gets its own flavor. That you put different things you put, it makes the overall the sabji comes nice, or any item comes nice because of everyone's flavor. So similarly, Krishna is happy when so many varieties of devotees together they come unitedly and offer their loving service to Krishna. Right? So all of us may have our flavors, but when we unitedly come to serve Krishna, it's a wonderful offering to Krishna. Very good. It's like a spices, different spices. Every spice is unique, and you don't just put one spice, you put many spices. And everything together gives a wonderful flavor to the sabji. So like that. So in that way we have to learn that, okay, my flavor and this devotee's flavor may be opposite in nature. Right? But then, in service of the Lord, both flavor coming together to please Krishna will be very pleasing to Krishna. You understand? Okay. So in that way everyone is personal. Okay? Everyone is personal. There is a specific identity, not that everyone is same. And also that also means you cannot replace. You cannot replace a devotee. You cannot say, ठीक है, ये devotee नहीं है. Doesn't matter. ये devotee करते हैं. No. वो devotee लगेगा. So that's why there is personal care. Not that, it's not about, just like in the material world, generally the humans are considered as resource. Right? They call that what? Human resource. Right? They call like that. So that's why they keep count. कितना लोग चाहिए हमको? 4 लोग लगेगा. 4 लोग हो गया, 2 हो गया. अभी वो 4 में से एक नहीं मिला तो एक चला गया, एक मर गया, बीमार हो गया, कुछ हो गया. Doesn't matter. एक हम दूसरा ऐड कर देंगे. So it's impersonal, quite impersonal concept, no? Right? Because लोग, but it's not in the spiritual world. It's not like that कि हमको इतना लोग लगेगा. Every person has his own relationship with Krishna. Krishna is missing you. Okay. When you are in material world, you are not in the spiritual world. Krishna is missing you individually. Krishna needs you back. Krishna is longing for you to come back. Okay. Because you can't be replaced. Everyone is so much unique. It may sound very strange. With millions and trillions of people are there. Everyone is unique. Itna? And we can see even in this material world. Isn't it? How many people are there? Maybe 8 billion people. But still, if you put a thumb print, it's so unique. And every person also you need to find सब अलग ही है कि नहीं? सब का अलग फ्लेवर है. ऐसा नहीं कि 2 लोग एकदम कॉपी हो गए, ये तो एकदम ही सेम है, एकदम ही होगी. Right? So if in this world, material world, tiny place, here, and even not in material world, within material world, in one tiny planet, you can see so much variegatedness. So what's the surprise to know that trillion into trillion into trillion into trillions of living entities, they all have a unique and special variety and taste for Krishna. Okay? Everyone is personal. This is spiritual, and that's why a devotee cares for everyone. It's not like, ठीक है हमको तो पूरी वॉइस में इतने डिवोटी चाहिए, ये इसका फॉल डाउन हो गया तो हम किसी और नए को ले आते हैं. ऐसे नहीं है. Everyone is unique and important, and we care for them. We love them, we want to help them, we want to serve them. You understand? Just like that, very personal. Spiritual world is very, very personal, very values each and every one. In this regard, there is a pastime of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. How many of you heard this pastime? Seniors have given this. Mandar kunda kurkot palacham pakana Punnaga naga bakulam rujaparijata Gandhe chite tulasi Bhagani natasya Yasmin stapa sumanaso bahumanayanti
Although flowering plants like the Mandara, Kunda, Kurabaka, Utpala, Champaka, Arana, Punnaga, Nagakeshara, Bakula, Digi and Parijata are full of transcendental fragrance, they are still conscious of the austerities performed by Tulsi. For Tulsi is given special preference by the Lord who garlands himself with Tulsi leaves.
So here we see that there are so many wonderful special flowers, flowering plants. Some of them you might have not even heard. Champaka, Delhi, Parijat we have only heard. It's more than the heavenly planet. But whatever best of the flower fragrance and they are hundreds of times better than those flowers are there in the spiritual world. Okay. And all these wonderful fragrant flowers, flowering plants, they are all seeing that there is so much preference given to Tulsi. Tulsi में कैसा fragrance आता है? बहुत ज़्यादा fragrance आता है क्या? बहुत ज़्यादा तो ऐसा fragrance नहीं आता. हमको नहीं आता. There is another purport by Srila Prabhupada where Prabhupada explains that there is a very amazing fragrance of Tulsi which is understood by more we become spiritualized because there is spiritual fragrance. But anyway, the point is that the fragrance of Tulsi may not be so great. The look from point of view Tulsi may not be so great. But Tulsi is given the highest preference in serving the Lord. Right? Okay. So when all these flowering plants are seeing that every day the Supreme Lord is given the highest preference with Tulsi garland, and Tulsi is only put on the Tulsi leaves are only put in the lotus feet. These flowers are not saying, ये क्या है? रोज रोज तुलसी का ही लीफ लगाता है. एक दिन हमारा भी लगाना चाहिए. हमारा भी पत्ते चढ़ाइए. हर रोज उन्हीं का क्यों चढ़ाने का? और एक सीक्वेंस होना चाहिए ना कि ठीक है मंडे को इनके चढ़ाए, ट्यूसडे को हमारा चाहिए, वेडनेसडे को इनके चढ़ाइए. ठीक है, हर रोज तुलसी ही लग रहा है. क्या है मतलब यहाँ पर चल क्या रहा है? ऐसा ना इंसाफी क्यों हमारे साथ? No one is speaking like this. No one is thinking like this. No one is thinking so much favoritism to Tulsi. What is this? So that is not the consciousness. The consciousness is that all these flowering plants are so happy, and whether they are glorifying Tulsi. The importance of Tulsi leaves is very clearly mentioned here. Tulsi plants and their leaves are very important in devotional service. Devotees are recommended to water Tulsi tree every day and collect the leaves to worship the Lord. One time an atheistic Swami remarked, what is the use of watering Tulsi plant? It is better to water eggplant. By watering the eggplant one can get some fruits. But what is the use of watering the Tulsi? How many of you know this atheistic Swami's name? No one knows. Generally we don't speak his name in the class. Because that may spoil the class. ठीक है वही सॉन्ग है और कौन सॉन्ग है फेमस artistic song है Prabhupada's favorite ठीक है okay leave it that's not the topic but the point is that Prabhupada is saying these foolish creatures unacquainted with devotional service sometimes play havoc with the education of people in Germany. So some of these people who don't understand because they have no spiritual vision. Right? They think Tulsi ke kya hai? Tulsi. They have no spiritual vision. They don't understand. The most important thing about the spiritual world is that there is no envy among devotees there. That's the point. This is true even among flowers, which are all conscious of the greatness of Tulsi. In the Vaikuntha world entered by the four Kumaras, even the birds and flowers are conscious of service to the Lord. And in that devotional service, there is no envy. Right? And in that it goes on and on. And then next verse is explained about Lakshmi ji. It is said that Shri Rupini, that Lakshmi ji herself is there, and because time is less, I'll not go to all the verses because I have so many more things to cover. So, but I'll just give you a gist of it. So it is explained that although Lakshmi ji is there, personally, who is Lakshmi? Okay. In this materialistic world, what is the importance of Lakshmi? She is goddess of fortune, so.
Her favor is required so that we can become opulent and rich or whatever.
Everyone in this material world is simply working hard to get favor of Lakshmi. Yes or no? और क्या कर रहे हैं लोग?
All IITs.
Whether IITs, whether you are IITs or you are MITs, everyone in this world is simply working hard to get the favor of Lakshmi. That's the whole effort. कैसे मेरे को Lakshmi मिल जाए? Fortune. That's why we don't say just the goddess of money, but for all fortune. All the fortune in our life, whatever we need. Because money is not necessarily gives everything. So that Lakshmi, it is explained here that she is what she is doing. Sammarjativa yat anugrahane anya yatna. So it is explained that the spiritual world, how the spiritual world flowering is, कैसे flowering है. बता रहे हैं संलक्ष्यते स्फटिक कूट्य उपेत हेमनी. So उधर का flooring कैसा है? It's a pure white marble, okay, with the marble के बीच में ऐसे border होते हैं. The border is made up of gold, okay, pure gold का है. And there is स्फटिक. स्फटिक क्या है? क्रिस्टल की चीजें हैं. Sweeping the marble walls which are bedecked with interlaced with the golden borders. So they are what they are doing. They are cleaning it. झाड़ू लगा रहे हैं. Lakshmi is doing brooming there, and for what purpose? वहाँ पर कोई बहुत ज़्यादा गंदगी हो जाता है क्या? स्पेशल में बहुत डस्ट बहुत हो जाता है इसलिए झाड़ू लगाना पड़ता है, right? No, there is no dust only. There is no dust वहाँ पर. Still they are doing some brooming. Why? To receive the grace. The main point of this. Yat anugrahane anya yatna. So they are doing lot of hard work simply to get the grace of the Supreme Lord. In this world, everyone is working hard to get favor of Lakshmi. That Lakshmi in the spiritual world is constantly brooming the floor, which has no dust also, simply so that Lord will look with a merciful glance at him. So that is spiritual world. That Lakshmi is engaged in dharma. Prema. So we have to understand what is this place, the spiritual world. Like that, there are so many descriptions. You read this verse, yeah. In text 23 is talking about, now text 23 and 24, Lord Brahma is speaking, giving some description of spiritual world. Lord Brahma is speaking, who cannot go to the spiritual world. Okay. First, and then next verse, Brahma speaks, who can go to the spiritual world. Okay. So let us see who cannot go to the spiritual world. ये स्पिरिचुअल वर्ल्ड इसके लिए नहीं है। यन्ना व्रजन्ति अगभिदो रचना रचनानुवादा शृण्वन्ति ये अन्न विषया कुतथा मतिग्नि यास्तु श्रुता हत भगैर्निधिर आत्मसारस तांस्तान क्षिपन्ति अशरणेषु तमः सुहन्त
It is very much regrettable that unfortunate people do not discuss the description of the Vaikuntha planets, but engage in topics which are unworthy to hear and which linger one's intelligence. Those who give up the topics of Vaikuntha and take to talk of the material world are thrown into the darkest region of ignorance.
So, who cannot go to the spiritual world? Those who are two things. First thing, they do not discuss about Vaikuntha. They do not discuss about Krishna. Because, very simple, whatever you are talking, that is influencing your consciousness. आपका consciousness कैसा होता जा रहा है? Because, and based on your consciousness, you will go. Right? So, if you are hearing mundane topics, then your consciousness will become mundane. You are hearing about sense gratification. And what is the most wonderful source of hearing in modern time? Newspaper? Or is it radio? What is the mode? YouTube. Smartphone. Smartphone. So many things keep coming here. So, and also materialistic association, any kind of materialistic association. So it's very, very important that two things we take care. We must discuss about Krishna. That is one thing. Second thing is, we must not discuss topics which are unworthy to hear, which bewilders one's intelligence. So what are those topics? What are those topics? Can you give some examples of what can be the topics which wise devotees may hear, which may be unworthy to hear, which bewilders one's intelligence? Example. क्या टॉपिक है सर?
Some positivity goes to college and there everyone talks about placement. So his intelligence may get bored, right?
Placement talks.
Not about placement, but about the figures of the package and salary and what they're going to do with it and how more and more they should grab and what they will do after getting that money.
So all the materialistic plans spoken by all of these materialistic people. You know. So then one may start thinking, Arey, I am missing out. You know? I am missing out this opportunity. I thought I will become opportunist. And these are the greatest opportunity in life, you know, to do sense gratification. And while being in devotional service, I am missing out these things. And in that way, one will miss out opportunity to go back to Godhead. That's what this verse is saying. If you hear all these topics, then you'll miss out Vaikuntha. Right? And you will ultimately, whatever else you may gain in this world, ultimately you will fall down to the hellish existence. And hence in that way, we lose everything. Okay. What else? What else will we hear?
Anything that can harm our faith.
Anything which can harm our faith. Let's just say a devotee may think that, okay, let me search on YouTube some Krishna conscious thing. I don't know what will come, but in case you search ISKCON on YouTube, what will come? Blasphemy.
First video will come.
First video will be blasphemy. I don't know. Maybe.
Yes, Prabhu. All sessions come here.
If you type ISKCON, if you type maybe something, I don't know what may come. Then don't try. Try and check. We can check also कौन से नंबर पे आ रहा है, but you should know. ये अरे और फिर क्या वो लोग जो ब्लास्फेमी वाले लोग होते हैं वो लोग बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग टॉपिक होते हैं, है ना? उनका कवर पेज and title and everything is so interesting that you feel कि कृष्ण कॉन्शियस के बारे में कुछ तो मुझे ये सब भी जानना चाहिए. I should not be so blind. I should understand properly everything about where I have entered. And let me hear this. And once you hear even one video, immediately the recommendation will give you many more videos of similar blasphemous channels, in case you click it. And then you say, oh, this one I never knew, this one, and what about this one? And then you miss out. Then you're gone, you miss out. Because after that your faith is destroyed. After that you may not be able to then chant Hare Krishna. You take up the bead bag, and it's so difficult. Okay. And they may be devotees for your information. They may be wearing Tilak, Kantimala, and maybe shaven hair, maybe saffron also. I don't know. But you're entered into wrong channel. These are not the channels for you to be. Okay. Okay.
If someone hears my chant, then what is the way that he can, if someone or whatever he can help to someone, then how he can change or he can report.
First thing obviously he should do is that जो भी सुना, because it's like taking a poison. We are asking question, if someone is bitten by a snake, what he should do? Immediately rush to hospital. That's all. What he should do? He should not delay. He should not think that ठीक है अभी साथ में काटे हैं, देखते हैं क्या होता है, उसके बाद सोचेंगे.
Like Ajamin, he starts contemplating. Like Ajamin, he starts contemplating.
He will be dead. Dead. So then what do you do? That's why as soon as you get to hear anything which is disturbing your faith, take immediate action. Don't wait. Why? Because it's a poison. Poison, what it does? Poison is, as soon as poison enters, तो जैसे कि अगर सांप ने या किसी ने अंदर काटा, पैर में काटा, तो क्या करते हैं सबसे पहले चीज? हाँ, पहले एक पट्टी बांधने का था, बहुत टाइट, ऐसा टाइट कि उधर से खून भी ऊपर नहीं जाना चाहिए. उसके बाद उसको हॉस्पिटल लेके जाना चाहिए. ठीक है? कुछ तो अभी तो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल you have to see that the poison should not increase. So we should understand that hearing such thing is not as same as biting of a snake. It is worse than biting of the snake. Snake biting is better. Better to die thinking of Krishna and having appreciation and glories of devotees. Dying is good, not an issue. But to hear something is worse, more dangerous poison, because this poison of a snake will only kill one body, not a problem. But that poison will make you take birth millions and trillions of births in this material world. Very dangerous, because it will make you leave Krishna consciousness. So, जैसे ही आपने सुन लिया तुरंत डिवोटी से मिलने का, बोलने का प्रभु जी पॉइजन आ गया, जल्दी से अभी एंटीडोट दीजिए. And then devotees will sit with you and explain you and clarify what happened, what not happened, and this and that. Okay? And then slowly we can arrive back. And then devotees will say, now you hear this, now you read this. Take all these medicines, focus on taking medicine, and then slowly you will come back and you will become healthy, very poor. You will understand never to touch these, never to enter into snake holes. Very dangerous fellow sitting there. Okay. My request, open request to everyone, if you want to hear about Krishna consciousness, or if you want to hear anything nice, why you have to search YouTube? Why you take shelter of YouTube or any such thing in internet? You take help of devotees. Ask devotees. Devotees will give you everything. Whatever material you need, you will receive. And my recommendation for your whole life best, but at least for the beginning 4 years of your Krishna consciousness, please do not hear anything without taking guidance. Okay. Don't do that. Okay. Take guidance, take lectures. We have hundreds and thousands of lectures series to complete. और आपको बहुत सर्च करना ही अच्छा लगता है, नहीं वो मैं अपने आप से सर्च करके करूँगा, तो फिर आप सर्च करने के लिए एक वेबसाइट का नाम दे रहा हूँ मैं, radheshyamdas.com. उसमें बहुत कुछ है, हजारों लेक्चर्स है, उसमें सर्च करके ब्राउज करके जितना सुनना है सुनो. दिस मे नॉट बी ऑफ योर सिलेबस, वो भी सुनना चाहते हो सुन लो, नो प्रॉब्लम, बट एटलीस्ट आप कुछ गलत तो नहीं सुनने वाले. भले यू विल हियर आउट ऑफ सिलेबस एंड दैट मे आल्सो bewilder you also, no problem, but at least that bewilderment will not harm you. Okay, right? Okay. Best is you hear what is being told, but बहुत whimsical होना है तो become whimsical within a zone, right? उस zone के अंदर whimsical हो जाओ. ठीक है. अब YouTube में ही जाने नहीं तो YouTube में हमको सर्च करें, तो आप क्या करो, वो क्या राधे श्यामदास डिवोशनल वीडियोस करके एक चैनल है, उस चैनल के अंदर सर्च करते रहो, सर्च कर लो. या फिर आपको 3-4 ऐसे चैनल दे देंगे, हम उसी में सर्च करना, लेकिन उस चैनल के बाहर मत जाओ. You don't know. YouTube is such a dangerous platform, and one of the best place to spoil your devotion service. YouTube. Don't think. Just because it may not be very corrupted. What I have heard is like Facebook and all this is extremely corrupted places, whereas YouTube has its own policy. It doesn't put very corrupted videos in the sense of obscene videos. I don't know, ऐसा है कि नहीं, but ऐसा मैंने सुना है. But it may not have those kind of things, but it may have another kind of videos which can destroy your spiritual life. Right? And hence, don't be so free with YouTube. Okay? So don't think YouTube is safe. ऐसा कुछ प्रॉब्लम हो जाएगा उधर. ज़्यादा सर्च मत मारो. पढ़ाई के लिए भी चाहिए तो भी गाइडेंस ले लो. See only what is necessary. Don't keep watching YouTube. And if you want to just watch YouTube for getting information, please understand many of these information are propaganda by some people because they are advertising something. It's not necessarily some right information. So उसके लिए देखना, तो सबका जरूरत क्या है like this? What is the use? Yeah? Trying to get? Who? These people. Those who are putting videos, they're just putting some masala. People will hear and they'll earn money. So don't get trapped by that. And biggest reason we are saying is that here Brahmaji is saying it is very much regrettable that unfortunate people do not discuss the description of the Vaikuntha planet. इतना अच्छा हमारा भागवतम में डिस्क्रिप्शन है, उसको पढ़ो ना. आपको थोड़ा एंटरटेनमेंट चाहिए ना लाइफ में, भागवतम उठा लो, बहुत एक्सटैटिक एंटरटेनमेंट। रीड, प्रॉपर बुक रीडिंग में टेस्ट नहीं आ रहा है तो ठीक है भागवतम उठा दो, नो प्रॉब्लम। ब्राउज विद इन दैट, है ना, आपको एक लिमिट के अंदर ब्राउजिंग करो जितना आपको भाग दौड़ करना है। Best is what? No, I'm saying this, see, our time we never heard this kind of thing because we never had these things and we used to get lectures in a folder. हम लोग को folder दिया जाता था एक पेन ड्राइव, फ्लैश प्लेयर में या फिर हमारे लैपटॉप में, कंप्यूटर्स में, डेस्कटॉप होता था हमारे। So we used to get a certain folder. That's it. There was nothing. Internet and browsing was not so common. When we used to do, YouTube didn't exist, so it was very safe. But now we have to speak that because people you have become habituated to browsing. सर्च करो सब चीज़ सर्च करते रहो पूरे जिंदगी में। Then my point is that अगर आपके अंदर इतना टेंडेंसी आपको यूटिलाइज करना है, सेंस ही करना है, then search within a limit। एक लिमिट आपको दे दिया, इसके अंदर सर्च करते रहो, इसके बाहर मत जाओ। और आप radheshamdas.com में भी आप देखोगे ना, उधर पे आप सर्च बार पे आप सर्च करो, कितना मटेरियल मिल जाता है एक वर्ड पे, राइट? यू सर्च वन वर्ड यू गेट मेनी लेक्चर्स, सो हियर इट्स सफिशिएंट। ओके, सो डोंट प्ले विद योर स्पिरिचुअल लाइफ because there are topics which are unworthy to hear and which bewilders one's intelligence. Okay, which is Kokatha Matikni. Spoken bad words, which matigani, which kills the intelligence, kills the spiritual intelligence. So such people cannot go to the spiritual world. Srila Prabhupada explains Kokatha Matagni. Acharya is explaining that to be the two particular, especially talks about impersonal Mayavad, because they don't want to talk about the spiritual variegatedness, spiritual varieties. They want to say there is, as far as, because in spiritual world there is variety. That's why see, we have tendency to search for variety. Okay. Whereas Mayavad talks says what? There is no variety. As soon as we hear that, then what happens? That impels you to go for material variety. Right? But the real spiritual talk is that there is variety in the spiritual world. So want variety, that need of variety is not wrong. It's okay. But let that variety be now spiritual. So that's why we have so much spiritual variety. Right? Within Bhagavatam also so many cantos, so many different kinds of chapters. So many, you want scientific stuff, we have huge scientific stuff. You want very devotional and direct devotional stuff, yeah, direct devotional stuff. You want glories of devotees and qualities, we have that. Bhagavatam is filled with everything. Bhagavatam is desire fulfilled. It is everything, but all is spiritual. And hence you can dive into and enter into so much. Okay? There are so much books. Books are coming in. So here, variety, spiritual variety. So much activity, spiritual activities. Now, the last verse is talking about what is qualification to go back to God. Yebhyarthitam apichano mrigatin prapanna jnanam cha tattva vishayam sahadharmam yatra नाराधनं भगवतो वितरन्ति अमुष्य सम्मोहिता विततया बत मायया ते
Brahma said, my dear demigods, the human form of life is of such importance that we also desire to have such life. For in the human form one can attain perfect religious truth and knowledge. If one in this human form of life does not understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead and His abode, it is to be understood that he is very much affected by the influence of external nature.
So Brahmaji is talking about especially this human form of life in Bharatvarsha. Here. So Brahmaji in his abode is saying what? क्या बोल रहे हैं? कि ह्यूमन लाइफ अगर हमको भी मिल जाए कितना अच्छा है, क्योंकि ये ह्यूमन लाइफ यहाँ पर स्पेशली here in this Bharatvarsha is so special that here one can attain religious truth and knowledge. And और अगर किसी को ये ह्यूमन फॉर्म ऑफ लाइफ मिल गया, किसको मिला है? किसी को यहाँ पर मिला है क्या ह्यूमन फॉर्म ऑफ लाइफ? किसी को मिला है यहाँ पर बैठे हुए? ठीक है, हम सबको मिला है. That's why you are hearing this. So he is saying, if one in this human form of life does not understand Krishna and his abode, it is to be understood he is very much affected by the influence of Krishna. Brahmaji condemns vehemently the condition of the human beings who does not take interest in personality of Godhead and is transcendent about the Godhead. The human form of life is desired even by Brahmaji. Brahma and other demigods have much better material bodies than human beings. Yet the demigods, including Brahma, nevertheless desire to attain the human form of life because it is specifically meant for the living entity who can attain transcendent knowledge and religious principle, religious perfection. It is not possible to go back to Godhead in one life, but in human form, one should at least understand the goal of life and begin Krishna consciousness. So most of you should understand that because all of you have come to some serious practice of Krishna consciousness, there is a good chance that you already started in your previous life. Okay, something you already started. So don't think that Prabhupada is saying here it is not possible to go back to Godhead in one life. In the sense that to go back to Godhead is very difficult. It's very difficult in one life. That's why generally in one life, in human life अगर start कर दिया तो बहुत बड़ी बात हो गई, right? Generally आप देखते हैं, when you preach Krishna consciousness, you find that someone take up chanting, many people become serious also, right? Because of fear of priests who take up chanting, they become serious. But to shift to voice, to chant 16 rounds, attend Utkarsha, shift to voice, become a committed devotee and attend full morning program and everything, all these things to be able to do, we don't find many people are able to do that. Utna nahi kar pata. Some people they want to just do little bit, to begin, okay, right? Understand? That is a great thing. We should understand. Someone has got human form life and he has begun. That's wonderful. But someone who has come here, and who is seriously practicing day and night, and living in voice and 24 hours engaged, such a person is going back to Godhead in this life. Very well. And such a person surely has done something in the previous life कि अभी इतना seriously ले लिया उसने, कुछ तो मतलब previous life का रहेगा, कुछ account पहले से ये अभी इतना अच्छे से कर रहा है कोई भक्ति. It's a very great thing. So point is that in general it's not possible that in one life someone just takes up and becomes such a serious devotee that he becomes voice inmate and even after voice life, 4 years of voice stay, then after that he continues to practice so seriously and till his last breath if he practices. If someone does this, then surely he is going back to God. There's no doubt in me. Right? But in general, Prabhupada is saying it's not easy. In general, one begins, that's a great thing. So hence, we need to understand the rarity of voice devotees. Someone who has actually come to voice, someone who is actually practicing. These are very, very special souls. एक बार अपने चारों ओर देखो, कौन लोग बैठे हैं आपके चारों ओर देखो. So you should understand all these people who are sitting around you. They are all
very, very, very rare.
very rare special people. Should also always offer respect to them, offer all your loving service to them. You should know these are not ordinary people, and most probably many of these, maybe I hope and pray that all of you devotees, will practice all throughout your life these principles, what you are taking up, and you'll all go back to God. Hare Krishna. And we are very hopeful that if all of you go back to Godhead, then all of you will pray for a rascal like me, that Krishna, ye udhar hi step up reh gaya hai. And then there is a hope that Krishna may accept me also. So like that. Then there is a hope for me. That's why I am trying to serve all of you, that all of you can go back. Yeah, so this is mentioned here. Okay, one more verse. Sorry, I'm not. This is the last verse. Not that one. And maybe next one. Yacha vrajanti animesham rishabhanuvritya Dureya upari nasprihi sprahe Aniyashila Bharturmitha suyasha Kathananurada Vaiklavya Baspa Kalaya Pulaki Kritanga
Persons whose worldly features change in ecstasy and whose breathe heavily and perspire due to hearing the glories of the Lord are promoted to the kingdom of God, even though they do not care for meditation and other austerities. The kingdom of God is above the material universes and it is desired by Brahma and other demigods.
So as you can see, now here in this verse, what is the qualification of one who can go back to God? So both of us, in this verse Brahma talked about that such a human being, what he will do? He will understand Krishna and his abode, and then once he has understood Krishna, then you'll find such a person when he hears about Krishna, due to hearing about the glories of Lord, what will happen? Bodily feature changes in ecstasy and breathe heavily and perspire. Ecstasy, complete ecstasy. Okay, na? What is that? Gauranga bolite kabe pulaka sharira Hari Hari bolite ayane babeni. So such a person goes back to God. So Prabhu, ये तो बहुत आपने हमको तो उदास कर दिया आज. That's why Srila Prabhupada gives a long purport. कितना long? देखो इतना long. बहुत लंबा purport. क्या है इस purport में? बताता हूँ. So Prabhupada is saying, let us read a little bit. It is clearly stated herein that kingdom of God is above material universe, just as there are many hundreds and thousands of higher planets above this earth. So there are millions and billions of spiritual planets belonging to material sky. Brahmaji states herein that the spiritual kingdom is above kingdom of demigods. One can enter the kingdom of Supreme Lord only when one is highly developed in desirable qualities. So all good qualities. Okay, so ultimately, I'll just tell in brief. So Prabhupada ultimately making point that, okay, now when you read this verse, you may find that abhi mera kya hope hai? Prabhupada gives the hope in the purport by explaining, you begin. Okay, right? This is where you need to reach to go back to God, for sure. Okay, you can't have a shortcut. Okay, so point is that you can't be a unserious devotee and thinking that but somehow the other I'll go back to God. Okay? So you have to chant. Prabhupada will talk about further So Brahmaji confirms in that only person who have developed the desirable qualities can enter the kingdom of God. In Chaitanya, devotees' desirable qualities are described to be 26 in number. So 26 qualities are mentioned. And how these qualities are cultivated, this is explained also in this verse. What is the verse? Anyone who is Krishna conscious is endowed with all good qualities of the demigod. Jasyasti bhakte bhagavati yakinchana samasateshura. So one who practices Krishna consciousness, just by practicing one gets all the good qualities. That means, now Srila Prabhupada is telling us, okay, you have to reach to the perfection. And to reach perfection, you need to develop all the wonderful qualities. Right? So there is an effort. We need to do certain efforts to develop all these wonderful qualities to go back to God. Don't take it so cheaply. We want to go such a special place. So we need to work sincerely, seriously, and without any ulterior motives, and develop these wonderful qualities. When he is kind, he does not quarrel with anyone, he accepts Krishna as the highest goal of life, he is equal to anyone, he doesn't find faults. All these, so many wonderful qualities are mentioned. And then Prabhupada is talking about another list of qualities from Lord Kapila section. And then Prabhupada is talking about that these bodily changes can take place due to ecstasy when the offenselessly chant the holy names of the God. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And then Prabhupada says, it may be noted there are 10 offenses we should avoid. And then Prabhupada explains all the 10 offenses. So why Prabhupada is emphasizing on so many things? Because Srila Prabhupada really wants us to develop these qualifications and go back to God. That's why Prabhupada gives elaborate purport here. And in that purport, Prabhupada is mentioning 26 qualities, Prabhupada is mentioning 10 offenses and telling, overcome these 10 offenses, chant Hare Krishna, stay with devotees, develop all these wonderful qualities and go back to Godhead. Hare. So that's why Prabhupada is saying, when one is free from all 10 of these offenses and chanting the holy name of God, he develops ecstatic body features called Pulak Ashru. Pulak means symptoms of happiness and Ashru means tears and eyes. The symptoms of happiness and tears and eyes must appear in a person who has chanted the holy name offenselessly. Here in this verse it is stated that those who have actually developed the symptoms of happiness and tears and eyes by chanting the glories of Lord are eligible to enter the kingdom of God. Haribo. In Chaitanya Charitamrita it is stated that if one doesn't develop these symptoms while chanting Hare Krishna, it is to be understood he is still offensive. There are offenses. Chaitanya Charitamrita suggests a nice remedy in this connection. There it is said in verse 31, chapter 8, Adivida, that if anyone takes shelter of Lord Chaitanya and just chants the holy name of Lord Hare Krishna, he becomes freed from all offenses. Hare. Okay. So how to go back to Godhead? Take shelter of Lord Chaitanya, chant Hare Krishna, and seriously then and work hard to avoid offenses. We have to work hard. Avoid offenses in your day-to-day life and develop wonderful qualities. And how all these things are possible? These are not possible when you can't go back to Godhead when you don't stay with devotees in voice. Right? How it's possible? Right? And hence this voice is a wonderful place. It's a spiritual embassy. Embassy क्या होता है? What is embassy? एम्बेसी में क्या होता है?
जैसे लोकल बोल रहे थे कि अमेरिका का एम्बेसी होगा तो उधर अमेरिका के रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशन चल रहे होंगे, जैसे हॉलीडे भी होगा तो अमेरिका के हिसाब से होगा.
Okay, so understand? Embassy is a place, just like American embassy means, in America का एक embassy अगर भारत में तो उस particular land जितना land उस embassy के पास है उस area में that area is America in India. Okay, right? वो एरिया पूरे तरह से अमेरिका की कंट्रोल में है और वहाँ पर इंडियन लॉज नहीं चलता है। अगर कोई क्रिमिनल उधर घुस गया तो उधर पे वो अमेरिका के अंदर में आ गया। ठीक है, ठीक है। अभी वो अमेरिकन लॉज के हिसाब से वहाँ पर चीज़ें होती है। ठीक है, तो वहाँ पर इंडिया का लॉ नहीं चलेगा। अंडरस्टैंड? दिस इज कॉल्ड एम्बेसी, दैट इज अमेरिका विद इन इंडिया। सिमिलरली when you say spiritual embassy means it is spiritual world in the material world. Okay, so see that this voice is a spiritual embassy, an embassy of the spiritual world. Means what? इस एरिया में मटीरियल लॉज नहीं चलता यहाँ। और वहाँ पर और क्या होता है एम्बेसी में? वहाँ पर जाके क्या करते हैं लोग? जैसे अमेरिका का एम्बेसी जो इंडिया में, इंडियंस वहाँ पर क्यों जाते हैं? वीज़ा के लिए। वहाँ पर एक वीज़ा मिल जाता है और वो वीज़ा मिलता है, फिर उससे आप अमेरिका जा सकते हैं। राइट? सो सिमिलरली स्पिरिचुअल वर्ल्ड की एम्बेसी में क्या होता है? यहाँ पर वीज़ा मिलता है आपको। वीज़ा फिर कुछ टाइम मिल जाता है कि ओके नाउ यू कैन गो बैक होम, बैक टू गॉड। सो ऑब्वियसली वीज़ा मिल जाने से आप नहीं चले जाते हैं। ये जैसे लाइक अमेरिकन एम्बेसी में आप जाओगे आपको वीज़ा मिल जाएगा, उससे आप अमेरिका नहीं पहुंच सकते, उसके बाद आपको फ्लाइट में बैठना पड़ेगा। ठीक है, सो हेंस वीज़ा मिल जाता है, उसके बाद आपको उस वीज़ा को संभाल के रखना होगा। ठीक है, और उसके बाद आपको प्रैक्टिस करना होगा एंड देन यू कैन गो बैक। बट द पॉइंट इज दैट इस वीज़ा के बिना आप नहीं जा सकते, वो वीज़ा यहाँ पर ही आपको। So that's why we should understand this voice is a very, very special opportunity for us to go to that spiritual abode what we discussed. I'm not going to these documents. This will be taken separately for, there is a very nice, wonderful ideas of what this voice is about, what all things happens in the voice, how there is a morning program which happens in this voice. And also another document. These two documents I want thinking it. This is called द्वारका voice standards. So voice में क्या क्या होता है और क्या क्या होना चाहिए. So I wish that all these documents be nicely read. अभी I don't have time because if I take more 35. Right. Extend the class beyond this, surely I will get lot of verses from your belly. And just now we discussed that to please the Vaishnavas is very, very important to make advance in spiritual life. So I don't want to do this right away, but I wish that these two documents can be sincerely read and understood by all the devotees. And maybe what can be done for Nakul batch? Today we can have a separate class, okay? And maybe Jyotirna and Shivam Pro can. Already I gave some brief ideas and principles, and if possible 5 to 6, sometime we can sit with the Nakul batch and just read these documents and try to understand, and if there are any question answers we can take it also. And an evening today, let us see, something will happen. So 6 o'clock be ready, whether it will be YSJ or something else, whatever may be there, some nice program will be there in the evening. Okay? What is it? Thank you very much. So wish you all the best. So to conclude with, let us, I'll just summarize what we discussed today. So we discussed about description of spiritual world. We began with the Golok Vrindavan description where Shri Radha Krishna is sitting and performing eternal pastimes, and today Sanatan Goswami's disappearance day. He is one of the Manjari performing pastimes along with Shri Radha Krishna. So that is our goal. We discussed a little bit about spiritual world, the qualities and the characteristics of the devotees. How devotees have no desire for sense gratification and they have no envy. There's no such qualities as lust, anger, envy, greed, and all these kinds of anathas in the spiritual world. And you can focus on Radha Krishna. This is spiritual world. This is the center in the spiritual world. That's all. And and then after that we discussed. So we saw that the devotees have no envy, there is no desire for self-elevation because they are fully absorbed in glorifying Krishna and serving Krishna. That is such a transcendental pleasure that there is no desire for self-gratification. And then we saw also that even Lakshmi Devi is engaged in getting favor of the Supreme Lord, whose favor everyone in this world is desiring. And one more verse comes which also says that although the concerts of these personalities in Vaikuntha, they are all extremely beautiful. But they are very, very beautiful, very attractive. But they are not at all attracted to these concerts. They are fully attracted by Krishna. Krishna's beauty is so great. Krishna's beauty is so great that they have no attraction to anything. And there is no desire for self-gratification. Everyone is just attracted to serve and love and serve Krishna. And then we discussed on how to go back to Godhead. Who will not go back to Godhead? What is the answer? Those who hear the topics which bewilder the intelligence. Kukatha. Kukatha mati dhani. So Kukatha means those who hear mundane topics which bewilder the intelligence, which make one more material and non-material. So to be very careful about Shravana, what we hear. So in that regard we discussed about YouTube. Don't browse on YouTube, don't browse on internet. This is mat karo. Okay. Especially about Krishna consciousness. You want to browse about your studies or something, hopefully you won't get some dirty contents or something. But about Krishna consciousness, internet is not the source to do studies. Okay? If you want to understand about Krishna consciousness, take the right sources. Okay? Don't try to understand things from internet. Okay, so you can, within internet we have lot of wonderful sources. Take help of those websites. Okay? And there you can browse. And then who can go back to Godhead? Pulak or Ashru. Those who, when they hear about Krishna, they develop complete ecstasy. So they are like, so I don't see anyone sitting here crying tears. We have been discussing and reading from Bhagavatam, but so that means we have to do homework. Which Prabhupada also says that means we are offensive. That means there are offenses. Hence we need to see that, okay, what all offenses are happening and overcome the offenses. And especially take shelter of Lord Chaitanya. That is our hope in this age of Kali. By mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, very soon we can overcome offenses. Finding faults with devotees and all these things, so we can overcome all that. And in that way, we can trade our path back to God. And the last point we discussed is that this voice is a spiritual investment. So this is a place where you can cultivate all these wonderful qualities. You can cultivate all these wonderful qualities and when this is saying that time is over, Prabhu. And you can go back from that. So voice is a place. Voice is actually the embassy where you get the stamp and then you can go back to that. Thank you very much. And how in voice we can practice Krishna consciousness and how you can come to voice. Another important point is I didn't spoke, but just I'll mention a point that And hence, those who live here, they have the responsibility to keep this place as a spiritual world. Okay. So we have to create a spiritual world here. This place is a spiritual world. And of this there is no doubt. Why? Because Radha Krishna are there. But how much this place will manifest the qualities of spiritual world depends on the resident. And how much the residents here follow the principles of the spiritual world, that will determine how much this place will manifest spiritual world. And this will help and become a wonderful place for so many people to go back to God again. Okay? So that's why I wish that all the seniors also study about voice standards, and all the devotees who are newly coming, and who wish to also be a part of this wonderful family of voice. They also understand about this voice standards and try to see that how we can live in voice together in harmony in a way that we manifest spiritual world here, so that this place can help us go back to Godhead. This place can help us cultivate the consciousness of spiritual world while we are here, and here we can go back to Godhead. And simultaneously this place becomes attractive, so that anyone who comes here can experience the spiritual world and can be captivated by the spiritual world and can have desire to go back to God. Okay. So that is the whole purpose of how this voice should be. Okay. So we hope and we pray that we all together will work hard to create this voice into a place which inspires us and inspires everyone else for the ultimate purpose and goal of life. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Come for Prashadam. During Prashadam we'll have some discussion.